Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to Mod Extra Games and Collectibles. Mod Extra, where you get some of the G.I. Joe Classified Series news, some of the time, when I get around to it. But in my defense, I'm getting around to it in quite a timely manner this time around. The fourth and final Yojo June stream has taken place on Hasbro Pulse. We had some pre-orders go live, we had some render reveals, we had some name-only characters added to the pipeline list. There's lots to talk about, so let's do a little bit of a review and a wrap-up of the Yojo June stream this week. Share some thoughts, have some commentary, and obviously give you a chance to share your thoughts and commentary in the comments down below. And folks, before we go any further, heatwave here in the United Kingdom. I'm going to look a sweaty mess. This little shoebox is like a butterfly house right now, and I've got the lights on, which is not adding to the situation in a positive way at all. So give us a like for the commitment to this video, and spare a thought, finally, for the NECA collectors here in the United Kingdom who are actually able to articulate their figures directly out the box. So let's get into it. Yojo June Week 4. And let's get started with the pre-orders that have opened up today. The first reveal was Iceberg. Got the digital render last week, as they've done all month long. They've been moving very quickly through these waves in terms of digital render in 1 week, and then moving to the pre-order the following week. The in-hand look of Iceberg was appreciated, although I swear to God, guys, I can't make my mind up. It's like that that freaking dress on social media like 10 years ago or whatever it was. Is it black and blue? Is it gold and red or whatever? Is it blue or grey? His trimmings. I'm freaking out. I can't tell. Here's the live in-hand reveal of the figure. Look at this promo photo. That's like a turquoisey blue. But then let's go back to the other one. That looks great to me. That looks great. It's the G.I. Joe Classified equivalent of the stripy dress. Still looking solid. I wouldn't say he's a mind-blowing G.I. Joe Classified series figure, but the in-hand reveal and the promo photos have reinforced my thinking after seeing the digital render last week that he's just a good solid chunk of G.I. Joe Classified. It does look like maybe the fluffy bits are a bit kind of stark white fluffy, that they could have afforded a bit of a wash over that to give it a bit more depth and flavour. I'm also, I didn't clock it on the render, but the promo photo and the in-hand reveal has made the skirt piece, making the bottom piece of the jacket stand out to me, which I've never really quite been a fan of. You know, some of those earlier figures that had them, I wasn't the biggest fan of them, but still looks pretty solid to me. They showed off the underside of the board as well with the kind of decal on the inside of his snowboard with the G.I. Joe logo, and then like the iceberg. You know, an iceberg for Iceberg, which I thought was really kind of sweet and cool, adding a bit of flavour, although how much that would feature in the way you display the figure or photograph the figure, well, time will tell, and there's people more creative than me, I'm sure. But yeah, good solid piece of G.I. Joe Classified series there. My thoughts have been reinforced from the render I saw last week, so yeah, I think I'll probably go for this one. Then on to Rugged Duke, and again, you know, not much in the way of further thoughts over and above what I said about the digital render last week. Looks like a good solid figure, looks like a good toy soldier for sure. There's nothing really necessarily to dislike. I'm just not sure I've got a place for another Duke of this kind in my collection. But the more I look at it, the more I'm like, it is a good-looking figure, though. And, you know, the sandy colour top over the browns and the greens look kind of nice. The scarred eye, the beard. You know, there's a lot to like, so we'll see what happens. I don't think I'm going to pre-order it. I'm just going to maybe go on an impulse buy if the budget and my mood aligns. Maybe when he lands here in the UK. One small correction from the comments I made at the digital render. I was saying about the vest. I'm like, I'm not sure. Have we seen that before? I recognise it, but I don't think we have. And my man Will jumped in the comments down below and said that was on the Special Forces figure that came out earlier this year, which he's absolutely right. It did. I didn't pick one of those up, so I just kind of pushed the piece out of my mind, you know. But that's where that's come from. But one thing B-Map did say was that he's got this like little kind of slimline backpack thing as an additional kind of piece to the whole set there. And one other thing, actually, my man TK Storm, go check his channel out. I'll put a link in the comments down below. Had noticed all the magazines in the belt and in the tactical vest, even though he's got what's clearly a drum-fed machine gun there as his gear, but I don't know, whatever, reuse I suppose or something. So folks, you might be weapon swapping with this guy, but yeah, I mean, again, good solid G.I. Joe Classified. There's certainly nothing to dislike there, plenty to like. For me, As an individual, it's going to be a budgetary decision, really, I think, whether I go for this one or not. Then they shared the Toxo-Viper again. We knew it was coming, or part of this wave from the digital renders that we got last week. The colours seem even more muted to me. I commented on this with the digital render, but they seem even more muted to me on the figure itself than they did on the digital render. So they have toned down some of that brightness. Which they could have afforded to do with overkill, just to bang on about that point again. B-Mac was talking about the loose collar piece underneath the helmet. He was talking about the mangled face, which I don't think I've bothered grabbing a picture of for the purpose of this video. No, I didn't. I went for this promo photo instead. But yeah, the removal with the kind of gnarly face that's been affected by the exposure to all the toxic gases and what have you, which is nice. He also mentioned as an army builder, they're doing 2 per pack rather than 1, so there's going to have wider availability. And he did also mention as like a little throwaway comment, more Toxo stuff to come in the future, ? Eco Warriors, anyone? ? Which indicates, again, as I speculated last week, and I think most people drew the same conclusions as me, Cesspool can't be far behind if we've got Toxo-Vipers on the way. Although what would be very interesting to me, after seeing the kind of community reaction around figures like Overkill, as things get a little bit brighter and more 90s and more out there, how they might react to a lime green flint in a what were they called? The eco suits. I'd be very curious to see how that lands. But anyway, Toxo-Viper's looking good. I think I'll be picking at least one up for sure. Then on to Mistress Armada. Again, looking good, looking solid. Not a great deal of additional comments over and above what I mentioned about the digital render last week. The plastic on the metal armor pieces does look a little bit toy plasticky, but it's not too bad. It's certainly, from the promo photo at least, and from the in-hand reveal of the figure, which I grabbed a little screenshot of, doesn't look too bad. Some of the gold bits maybe, but not kind of Marvel Legends, kind of metallic plastic look at least. So looking good. Yeah, absolutely. Very happy and pleased to expand the roster on the Iron Grenadiers with a female character as well. Big supporter of adding more female characters to the line. Lots of cool gear. She's got some weaponry, a head swap, the visor with the headset, the cash bundle, little kind of world buildery piece. So yeah, all nice, good, solid. Everything about Mistress Armada appeals. This one is singing to me definitely. So I'll be making a pre-order for this lady for sure. And then finally on the pre-orders opened up the second new original classified character. So we've had Sundown before in G.I. Joe classified as an original character this year, and now Synapse is the second, who was revealed to us just as a silhouette last week. So this is our first proper look at the character. There were actually retail leaks last night, just as I was going to bed. They started doing the rounds. When the retail picture aside, I was just doing about. A few people are feeling very strongly about this guy. I'm getting the impression, because I'm seeing lots of hard pass, worst G.I. Joe classified series character ever. This is not G.I. Joe. What they do making up characters out of their asses and all this kind of stuff, which, isn't every character just made up out of their ass? But nonetheless, regardless of that, there is a small population of weirdos like me who like Cobra weirdos like Synapse, and this guy's just mental, and I love it. I absolutely love it. He was a techno-necromancer, I think B-Mac called him, which is just wild and weird and out there nonetheless. So that second arm with the eyeball in the center of the hand. He's got the scorpion, get over here kind of grappling hook thing, which is really sweet. I mean, it's a cyborg dude in a tunic jacket with extra arms and grappling hooks, and that gun's new as well, I think B-Mac mentioned. I mean, mostly new tooling. I think the legs are reused, but other than that, in fact, I feel like they could have done more with the legs, to be honest. The reuse on there, I feel, is a bit lazy. Same as with Rockclaw. I feel like if you're going to do it, do it all. You know what I mean? Go over, head to toe. The reuse legs, you could have done with some, I don't know, something that leaned a bit more into the overall look. I think the boots are the main problem with Synapse, as I thought they were with Rockclaw, actually. The boots don't seem right. Lots of sculpted detail, lots of paint apps. He's got the purple tunic, gold and gunmetal stuff. And look at that gnarly face. Look at that. I mean, I know the Mohawk's been a bit overdone, to be fair, now in G.I. Joe Classified. again, Rocklaw. But yeah, the gnarly, look at that kind of cyborg skull head. Yeah, really, really cool. And while I probably would agree with a few folks saying, like, I kind of don't see where this dude fits in with my G.I. Joe scene, he is very reminiscent to me of like the later Hammer series stuff, like with Revanche and the Bloom Ninjas and the cyborgs in there. And some of the other weirder, more wackier stuff that's gone on. It does look very grim, very, quite dark and edgy, which I sort of appreciate, like a little grittier edge to it all. So yeah, I am the guy that this sings to, folks. I'm possibly the minority from what I was skim reading on the social medias last night. But I'll remind those folks, G.I. Joe is a wide church. It's got a little something for everyone. And so if it is a pass for you, then it's a pass. And it's as simple as that. Just don't buy it, isn't it? But for nutters like me who like the weird stuff and like when my G.I. Joe leans more into the kind of comic booky science fiction side of the IP, yeah, I like this guy. I really like this guy. I'm just a nutter. What can I say? I like the Barmy stuff. One random side note though, just with regards to the stream, and BMAC and what's his name from Secret Galaxy are never going to watch this video, but dudes, have at least a few moments of the figure, like proper profile facing the camera. Spin it around a bit more. They showed the figures in hand for a very short window of time. Actually, I noticed as I'm about to move on to the renders flashed up pretty quick too. So there you go, bit of constructive feedback for you. However, enjoyed the stream nonetheless. So there you go. That's the end of the pre-orders. They all opened up today. I was looking before. It looks like shipping is October or November over here in the UK. But it's mainline. Find them where they're all, where all good toys are sold, as they say on the streams. Of course, if you're going to use Amazon, I'll ask you to consider using my Amazon affiliate link to sling me a kickback on that. But overall, yeah, a solid wave. Definite 4 out of 5 for me. Probably going to be a 5 out of 5 when it comes down to it. So that's the pre-orders. Let's now take a look at the digital renders, shall we? And they gave us the digital renders for the name-only retro wave from week 3, from the Yojo Junior week 3, starting with Falcon here. And I said at the time, is this going to be a retro girl job where it's kind of like a refreshed version of the character in the retro car backline, or will it just be a kind of classic Joe in different colours? And it looks like it's a classic Joe in different colours, because I'm quite confident that the body there was the original Falcon's body, and then they've popped the Night Force Falcon head on there to sort out that Team America problem that they had. Otherwise, pretty standard stuff. It comes with the stand, as they do as usual. I'm pretty sure that's the same backpack with the aerial on it that we got with the last Falcon, with the sheath in there to put this long dagger in it. The only thing really, I suppose, of note is, or that's fresh in terms of what you might want for a Falcon, is the shotgun. I think that's a new shotgun, isn't it? Or if we have seen it before, it was with a figure that I didn't pick up. And then, of course, the colour scheme, they've gone for a kind of more movie-accurate set of colours with the green and brown. So this is a pass for me, as is often the case with these retro releases that are just kind of recolours. I've got the Night Force Falcon. I've done the head swap. I'm okay with him in the deeper green. In fact, I've got him out on the shelf right now. I've got the, because Red Dog and Taurus, yeah, got the Renegades hanging around. I gave him Outback's backpack, though, because of that scene where he had the big backpack on in the movie. But a recolor, a new shotgun, and a slightly different decal on the beret is not enough to warrant a purchase for me. So if you haven't got Falcon, or you didn't do the Falcon Night Force whole thing, because I get that's like a lot of cost just to make one good Falcon, then this is a solid pickup for you. But if you're happy with the one you got, then it's not. Or you're like a real traditionalist and you want the cartoon G.I. Joe the movie accurate colours. Then it was the Cobra Valkyrie. I think she looks good, actually. I think she looks good. Very happy to see that from the original 2-pack release, they went with the black and blue combination rather than the tan and blue combination, with the blue uniform and then the the webbing and whatnot being in the and the holster being in that weird tan colour. It is largely a single retro re-release of the figure that was in the 2-pack. And they've gone with the plain helmet rather than the one with the silver V on it, but the weaponry is, kind of standard Cobra weaponry that we saw in the 2-pack. She comes with the stand. They did have backpacks, though. They did have backpacks in the 2-pack, which this one doesn't have. And from this render, the blues are a bit different, but overall, yeah, pretty solid. In fact, there's some better detail on this one as far as I'm concerned, because you've got a painted belt buckle. I didn't go for the 2-pack because I really didn't like those tan trimmings on the 2-pack one. So a single release in the retro card is a goer for me. I think I'll probably pick this one up because, again, a big advocate for more female presence on the shelf. Make my G.I. Joe and Cobra shelves a little bit less of a sausage fest. And I kind of always wanted one. I just wasn't going to buy a 2-pack just for the one figure I was going to use. He says, with a hint of irony, knowing that he bought the Night Force Falcon pack he was just referring to, just for the quarrel. But let's just skim over that hypocrisy, shall we? And then finally, here he is, folks. Here he is. From what I gather, now that Flash has arrived, there's going to be a large exodus. There's going to be a huge portion of you folks who will be done and gone because you've finally finished your OG 13. But here he is. And I got to say, he looks pretty good, actually. He looks pretty good. Grand Slam and Flash, as far as the OG 13 look goes, are the ones that would appeal to me the most because they've got a little bit more depth, a little bit more flavour with the kind of padded uniform, and Flash with his kind of sci-fi edge appeals as well. So I might actually pick this one up. I've not picked up much of the OG 13. I'm not much of an OG 13 guy, but I might actually go for this one. I think the head sculpt looks good. The red padding with the silver trimmings and stuff looks good. Painted belt buckle, science fiction weapon, all that. Hopefully that hose isn't too much of a pain from the backpack to his rifle. This is all good. And also super pleased to hear my man Mark over at Yojo Reviews getting a mention from BMAC with regards to his campaign, his shorts campaign to get Flash in G.I. Joe Classified. So well done, Mark. I believe that this release is entirely down to you, my friend. So there it is. There we go. So I hope the OG13 folks are happy with this. I know I did see some comments floating around about like some of them are mainline, some of them are retro. Like that matters in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, looking good, looking solid. Good classic toy soldier again with a laser. Love it. And then finally, in the digital renders, the Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider crossover that we heard about at the beginning of the Yojo June month. Here is the digital render, folks. And I gotta say, not a bad looking figure at all, is it? Not a bad looking figure at all. Certainly more impressed with this than I am of the Action Man release because it's kind of just got more of a unique flavour and more, more uniquely made stuff for the Tomb Raider figure. So the whole sculpt, boot to head, is completely fresh. It's in the classic Lara Croft vest and shorts with the double thigh holsters that we all know and love. But we've got the bow in here that's used in the game. Got this really awesome quiver with an arrow and then a loose arrow to use in the bow. I think this satchel or backpacky piece is unique as well. We've not seen that before. I'm pretty sure this knife, this dagger that she comes with, is pretty unique. We've not seen that before. With a loose sheath, I noticed at the top here as well. So I don't know whether that plugs in somewhere. Head swaps, hand swaps, and then a bit of reuse, the two pistols. We've seen those before, the dual wheel pistols that, again, are classic from the game. Climbing gear stuff that we've seen a few times now in the classified line. So, yeah, looking really good. The face sculpt looks pretty solid to me. They have sort of tried to integrate her into the classified kind of narrative with this cross belt here with the G.I. Joe symbol on it. But I think that's a smart play because then if you just want a Lara Croft and you're not a G.I. Joe classified collector, but you've tuned into this figure because you're a Tomb Raider fan, that's easy enough to, pop the head, swoop it off, and then you've got a standard Lara Croft to use in your collection. So if you're a gamer fan, so he's got good kind of cross appeal. I suspect the box is going to say the same as Action Man with the little thing on the back saying from the creators of G.I. Joe Classified, rather than the box and the packaging being branded like kind of heavily G.I. Joe. I think it's going to be Tomb Raider branding. But I've got to admit, I actually quite like this. I mean, I didn't play Tomb Raider a great deal when I was younger. I certainly haven't played any of the more recent iterations of the IP. I was never a huge fan, but it's a good solid figure. What I'm thinking is, though, is that she appeals to me, not to use with my G.I. Joes, she appeals to me as someone who might fit in more with some stuff you'd want to do with, like with your Operation Monster Force, for example. So she's like a good generic, well, not generic because he's a named character, but just a good solid 6-inch character for a broad 6-inch collection. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of what I meant to say that about Synapse, actually, that even though he's G.I. Joe classified, I can see Synapse having a bit of a place in kind of other spaces, like a weird, wacky cyborg villain for, your Marvel Legends to be beating up, or maybe the DC Mattel stuff when it comes along. So it's just a good solid 6-inch character for a broad 6-inch collection, just as this Lara Croft is. So I may find myself picking this one up. The only thing is, I've got a suspicion that she's going to be expensive, that she's going to be at that higher price bracket. We've seen the Action Man coming in at the higher price bracket. The Dusty and Sandstorm price is higher. She's got a lot of gear there. Whether I think that gear is value against that increased price bracket, well, that's a no for sure. So the thing that might put me off is the price. But it's just a good solid 6-inch figure to fit in amongst a broad kind of 6-inch collection. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, but that's where I'm at the moment with it. So there you go. Yeah, there's the digital renders. I don't remember BMAC, and I didn't note down BMAC mentioning when we will be seeing them in hand, but I think he was generally hinting at the fact that SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, is just around the corner. He definitely said, though, that the Tomb Raider was going to be revealed at the San Diego Comic-Con Hasbro press breakfast, and then presumably on the sort of backstage live stream that they do, and at the panel that they do at the Comic-Con, but more details to follow. So there you go, there's the renders. Okay, let's have a quick peek at the name-only list now. So here's the name-only list as it stands, looking a bit thin at the moment. We have got the digital renders out there for the Arctic 3-pack as well, which we've still not heard or seen anything else about. But the only remaining figure now that we haven't seen a render or anything for that's been on the name-only list is the Night Force Psych-Out. However, there have been some new additions to the name-only list, as you can see. So a Crimson Snake Armor, which I think is real curious, super curious, particularly in light of the recent kind of Fresh Monkey Fiction similar but legally distinct Red Shadowsy stuff that's been going on over there. And also because the Destro Is My Spirit Animal leak list had a Snake Armor re-release, although I think his leak list said it was going to be Diatech. So maybe a slight misalignment with the leak from wherever the leak source is. Then on to the Mad Marauders, the Mad Marauder Footloose and the Mad Marauder Mutt and Junkyard, which they said is going to be their first ever 2-pack with Pet. So you're going to get Footloose, Mutt and Junkyard all in the one set. So God knows what they're going to price that one up at. But we've seen all three of those characters before. Mutt and Junkyard and Footloose have both had mainline releases. They're just going to be in the Mad Marauder colours. So that'll all be good and fine for anyone who's trying to fill out their Mad Marauder shelf. And then finally, the Triple T, they popped on the Pipeline name only list. Not a great deal of detail. BMAT said it's got some modularity, like some bits you can change on it. It's going to be classified, eyes up. A digital render is going to drop before San Diego Comic-Con. Dan Larson did ask BMAT, does Sergeant Slaughter fit? And he said, yes, he fits. We've been playing with it. But what they didn't mention is whether there's going to be a Sergeant Slaughter with it. They haven't done a independent vehicle release without a character in it. So are we going to get another Sergeant Slaughter? Time will tell. I know that the Triple T is certainly one that people have been waiting for. There's definitely been folks in my comments who've mentioned saying, oh, I'd love a Triple T. And it's, it featured quite heavily in the cartoon and things like the movie. So, yeah, good, exciting, some interesting stuff to come down the pipeline for San Diego Comic-Con for sure. The Mad Marauders stuff appeals to me less. I've not picked up any Mad Marauders. I've not really been one for the kind of Crimson things either. I've not been picking up Crimson alternatives. I didn't get the 3-pack with the Twins and Baroness. I didn't get the Crimson Bat. It's not really been a space I've been digging into. I might be tempted by the Snake Armor, but I don't know. It's very expensive and it's very big, and it's not, those are the things, money and space, which is often the reason I eliminate something from the collection, and just how much it would appeal to me. But again, like I say, to use with my Fresh Monkey Fiction stuff more than to use with my G.I. Joe Classified. So we'll see. We'll see. But you know what, folks? That wasn't it. That wasn't the only thing, because after the stream had gone live, BMAT posted this on his Instagram. BMAT wrote, "Thank you all for a wonderful Yojo June. There was a change from my original notes to what was recorded for the final week, and I owe you all the 5th render reveal. I'll drop the render tomorrow around 11 a.m. ET. Yojo." So there's another render reveal that we've not received that's on its way, which I suspect might be the Nightfall Psycho. Although they may just produce something randomly. I was in two minds as to whether to wait and record this video later down the line, but sadly I'm not going to be home now for some number of days, so it was like, record it tonight or not at all kind of thing, and I wanted to talk about Synapse and stuff. So yeah, keep your eyes out tomorrow on the G.I. Joe socials for the 5th and final render reveal that we did not receive during the stream last night. I'm putting my money on the Nightfall Psycho, I think, probably, but we'll see, shall we? So there you go, and that's it, folks. Yojo June effectively done. BMAT mentioned that there'll be a Snowcat unboxing coming down the pipeline soon, and now they're in the lead up to San Diego Comic-Con, so that'll be the next kind of big event for reveals, pre-orders, etc., as well as things like the convention exclusives becoming available. Keep your eyes out tomorrow for that reveal, but as always, I'll invite you to the comments down below to share your thoughts as to what stood out to you, what's your favourite, what's your worst. Do you think I'm insane to like the Synapse as much as I do? Is it the worst G.I. Joe Classified series character you've ever seen? Let me know in the comments down below. But otherwise, thanks very much for coming and hanging out. If you thought this was fun, thought this was interesting, then do all the YouTubey stuff, press those buttons that help this brother out. Otherwise, take it easy. Have yourselves a great day. Have yourselves a great week, and I'll see you around these parts for another video sometime soon. All right? Take it easy, folks.